I'm still kind of doing like low carb, which means fats are okay, you know. The carnivore, not the carnivore, but anyway. I didn't realize these had cheddar in them, but that's fat too. I grabbed these in there. Until I get me a fridge, I'm having to get what I can. But they had some of these in there. I stopped at a TA's truck stop for tonight. It's Wednesday. End of my day today. It's been a rough one. I'll talk about that later in the video probably. But yeah, today was the worst miles I've got yet. And just a rough day. And like I said, I may talk about it in this one while I'm cooking or something. Give me something to talk about. But this says Smith Bros Meats, Colby, Wisconsin. So I guess that's local to here because I'm in Wisconsin. It says just taste it. I'll show that to you maybe up close in a little bit. But anyways. Hoi. I'm going to take me a shower here, but I'm going to do it in the morning really early because I get up early anyways, usually like 3 or 4. Well, actually more like 3:30. Look at these. I'm going to go ahead and cook the whole pack and then, you know, eat some for breakfast and stuff too. I better open these vents so I don't know it's going to smoke it up in here. Today was such a rough day for me, and I got the worst amount of miles that I've got yet. And I talked to a guy from Snyder. I'll kind of talk about some stuff that me and him talked about too, because very interesting info that I got from him about Snyder. From what I hear, I wouldn't want to go there. Somebody that's at Snyder maybe can correct me if I'm wrong, but from he's there and hasn't been there real long, but from what he told me, I don't think I'd want to go there. I'm going to put that lid on and let them cook for a little bit. I'm planning to probably get me some, well, for one, I'm getting a better phone soon, so this, I won't have to keep using these, because like they barely reach where my tripod's at up there. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's real good. That's called like Mugluck or something. Man, that's some good stuff right there. It sounded different, so, and I thought the name was funny, so I said, oh, I'm going to try that. Some kind of Mugluck coffee or something. I mean, at a TA in Wisconsin's TA truck stop, but cooking these sausages that I got out of there and settling in for the night. Going to get up really early, probably around 1:32, and take a shower, then get on the road. I'm going to Gary, Indiana now with the load that I've got now. It's a relay, which is a drop and hook, you know, something that somebody else kind of dropped there that was loaded, and now I'm picking it up for them and taking it the rest of the way. But what made today so bad for me was like I got up around 3:30 or so this morning, and I had an appointment I had to be at. I was only like 103 miles from it or something like that. Not very far from it. I had done most of the distance yesterday. And so anyways, this is working a lot better now. Probably where I got these batteries charged good. It hasn't beeped once yet. When I cooked it that one time, I hadn't started the truck at all, I don't think, at that point. So now that I've ran the truck all day, maybe those batteries are fully charged. This thing isn't beeping at all now. That's awesome. But anyways, like I had an appointment. I had to be there at 1 o'clock p.m. Well, I ended up getting there at like 6:45 a.m. So I was way early. And I went in with my paper, the BOL. They told you they had a fence there. They wanted you to roll it up and put it in the fence. I wrote my number on it so they could call me. And I sat out there and waited. I waited for like 3 hours. Then finally I called my fleet manager and asked him about it. Or another guy. My fleet manager wasn't there yet. And that guy said, well, just go in. Well, you're probably just going to have to wait it out. And I said, well, my clock is running, you know. My clock has been running this whole time on duty. Once you start your on-duty clock, it doesn't stop for the rest of the day. You can stop your drive time, but you can't stop your on-duty time, which is 14 hours. So it had went like 3 hours. Actually, more than that, like 4 or 5 hours, because the time it took to drive there. And so I was getting pretty discouraged because like, man, I just drove like 100 miles to get here, a little over 100 miles to get here. I've been getting good miles so far for the most part. Like yesterday I got 570, the day before I got 440, decent, you know. And let me move these things. Oh yeah, this thing's working nice. I had been doing good at that point, and then whenever that happened, I was confused about that clock, because what happened is when you start that clock, I don't know why I was thinking I had to start that clock that early, but for some reason I was thinking, you know, as soon as I got up, I had to go ahead and start that clock, but I didn't have to do that. I could have waited. Until close to time for that appointment and timed it right, because I knew it would take me probably about an hour or so to get there. So I could have waited, you know, and timed it until to start my clock for the day at maybe 11 o'clock or something like that, you know, or even 10 o'clock. That way I wouldn't have lost so much time, and then I could have made my way there. But anyways, so I learned my lesson the hard way. You know, if you sometimes you can, like me and my trainer, we went to appointments, we did that before, and when we did that, they got us in right then and there. Well, it didn't work out that way for me here. They didn't get me in right then and there, so it didn't work that way. I ended up sitting there for over 6 hours, I think. Well, I mean, I was there for over 6 hours. By the time I left, I sat for, I don't know, probably 4 or 5, and it took them like an hour to unload me probably. So long story short, it wasn't the greatest day today for miles, and it was kind of stressful because I was just sitting there bored, you know. I edited some videos. I posted the one earlier. So once I left there, I get to a truck stop. It's a little truck stop that's pretty crowded, and I can't remember what it's even called. I actually stopped at that same one with my trainer. I recognized it when I stopped there. And I got a coffee, and I didn't have a pre-plan yet, and I had done message them on, you know, on my computer up there asking, you know, is there a pre-plan? Nothing. So I called them, and my fleet manager's on lunch. So I asked him, you know, is there? I'm just calling because I'm needing a load. You know, I'm wondering if there's a load, because I was already discouraged because I had waited all that time, and then here I'm calling him, and they're saying he's on lunch. Like an hour later, they're still saying he's on lunch, if I'm not mistaken. And finally, I get a hold of the guy, and when I talked to him, he said, "Well, we don't have anything right now. We're still looking. We'll let you know." And I said, "Well, what's going on? You know, are you short on loads or what?" And he was like, he said, "Well, in your area, you know, for regional." And I kind of, I'll be honest, I kind of got aggravated after I got a phone, because I was already aggravated anyways. And then I was thinking, man, I'm ready to go. I want to get these miles. And I've been doing good so far. Now, you know, I've done messed up today, but at least give me a load so I can keep on going. And so I got kind of aggravated and called my wife and started talking to her. And pretty much as soon as I started talking to her, my fleet manager called me and he said, "All right, we've got you a load." And not trying to be over dramatic or anything, but I'm saying, like, I'm not loyal to Roehl. And what I mean by that is, like, I won't stay at Roehl if I don't get miles. And I'm plain and simple, you know. I've got to work, so plain and simple. Not saying that I want to leave Roehl or that I don't like Roehl, because I do so far. But if it comes down to the point to where I'm not getting miles, not making money, I'll go somewhere else. I got a CDL, so. But anyways, he got me a load, and so that load went about 80.9 miles to another place there in Wisconsin, another city in Wisconsin. It was a Nestle. The load that I was picking up was a Nestle load. The place I went to, I think, was a Nestle. And so I get there, went in the office, talked to another guy in there. That's where I ran into the Snyder guy. And I asked him, I said, "How many miles do you get, you know, on average a week?" And he said, "On a good week, I get around 400 a day." And I said, on a good day, I get around 400 a day. And I said, "On a good day, you get 400 a day?" And he said, "Yeah, around that." And I was thinking, wow, well, what's a bad day then? Because, like, I've been getting 500 plus, you know, a lot of the time. And 590 one day, 570, 440 sometimes, stuff like that. But, I mean, that to me is not as good of a day at 440. The way I'm looking at it. Because what I was you know, in my mind, I was thinking I want 2,500 miles from when I talked to my trainer and some other people. So anyways, I think these are done. Anyways, so I talked to him for a while in there, and we waited in there for probably 25-30 minutes before somebody finally came up there, and we pushed a button and everything. They came up there, and I had it empty, you know. I pulled the empty that I had just unloaded from the previous place that I had been at most of the day. I pulled it with me to this place, dropped it there at a dock, and then I drove around the building. Behind it, they had a rail trailer back there, and that's the one I'm hooked to right now. And this one I'm taking to the terminal in Gary, Indiana, the rail terminal. And it's very heavy too. You can tell. You can tell when you've got these really heavy ones. These trucks kind of, it's like it takes them a minute to take off. But anyways, I've got it now and everything, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I have to be there. I can check, but if I'm not mistaken, I think I have to be there at 10 a.m. And with my hours the way they are right now, my clock's not going to reset till around 4:30 a.m. I'm not sure I can make that, to be honest with you, because it's saying it's like 330 miles from here. So, and what they tell you to do at rail is average your miles 50 miles per hour, because these trucks are going at 65 and things happen. So that would be 50 miles an hour times 6 is 300. So that would take 6 hours, and if I don't leave until 4:30, then that would mean I would get there at like 10:30. If that's 50 miles an hour average though, and I'm definitely going to be going faster than that, Lord willing, unless something's wrong or something. I'm going to be going 65 if I'm able. So it's going to be a close one, but there's those. They look pretty good. Got those in my coffee. I'm going to close my curtain up there and sit in here and eat and call my wife and kids. Those don't look too bad. Look pretty good, actually. I'm about to feast. I'm pretty tired. I'll probably eat soon and call my wife and kids, talk to them for a while, and then plan to get up early, go get a shower, and then head on to Gary, Indiana. And the following day I should be being routed home to Kentucky, because today's Wednesday. I'll be home Friday. I intend to actually get local, but I can handle regional for a while anyways. I'm still enjoying it.
Crossing the calm sea with Jesus, the disciples were getting concerned. The wind started violently blowing, but he was asleep in the stern. Oh, does he not care that we perish? We're helpless and we're so afraid. They cried out for help from the Savior, but he said to them, where is your faith? Because you prayed all night and you held on with all of your might. Child, your cries have awoken the Master. He knows your voice. Lift your hands, it's time to rejoice. Child, your cries have awoken the Master. Now it hits you without any warning. Oh, the storm of your life has begun, and seeing no hope in the distance, you're frightened with nowhere to run. By now your vessel is filling, and you're thinking that you'll surely drown. You've cried out for help from the Savior, and you know that you can't turn back now, because you prayed all night and you've held on with and you know that you can't turn back now because you prayed all night. You've held on with all of your might. Child, your cries have awoken the Master. Oh, he knows your voice. Lift your hands, it's time to rejoice. Child, your cries have awoken the Master.
When I think of Ohio, I think of like big cities, but it has some beautiful country as well. And this was a nice day here. I'll be so glad when spring gets here and everything gets green and I get to see these places, you know, green and beautiful. Here's another rest stop. It looks like I really enjoy these rest stops, and I've mentioned that before, but I really do. Like when I get a chance to stop at them, if I got to use the bathroom or something, you know, or if I'm staying there for the night, it's neat to go in and look at them because they're all built a little different. Each state has its own. From what I know, all the states have them, and they're just really neat to look at the architecture on them. And there's some big oak trees and stuff here. This is in Ohio, and yeah, it had a really nice one. The one in Kentucky that I've seen was very small, but I really like the design of it as well, and you'll see that later on in this video. But that one's pretty big right there. You can tell they put some money into these rest stops, rest areas, whatever you call them. And I guess it's like for tourists, you know, as they're coming through to kind of, like it has all those magazines or things about Ohio, if I'm not mistaken. And so it gives them ideas of places to visit and stuff like that. Maybe draws in more people and therefore more money, you know, to that state. So that's probably why they do this. And then for the truckers as well. Something I'm going to have to face tomorrow a little bit is I got myself really bad with an axe here recently. And I had a video on YouTube of that, even showing it happen. Even though it didn't show too much, you know, I had a GoPro on and I'm not real good at adjusting those yet. I realized that I had it pointed up a little too high. That's something I'm going to have to get used to. And something I really look forward to putting to use this week is my GoPro. It'll be so much easier when I'm driving. You know, because that right there is just mounted on my dash, my phone. But my GoPro, I'll be able to walk around with that when I'm working and everything. And I'll be able to turn my head and show the different scenery as I'm driving. But anyways, they removed it from YouTube because they said it violated their terms or something like that. Said it was too graphic, I guess. I'm not sure. I guess somebody reported it or something. But anyways, my leg's doing pretty well. It's just sore, that's all. And the guy told me that stitched it up. He said that it's in an area that wouldn't put too much pressure. You know, it wouldn't be too much pressure for me walking on it. But I got it good. I mean, I buried the axe in my leg and I swung very hard. It was a full-on axe swing to the leg. And all things considered, I'm doing very well for what happened, honestly. It didn't break the bone or fracture it, so that I'm very thankful for that. It'll just be a little tougher getting in and out of the truck. I've already got in and out of it with my leg like this, so. And they said within 10 days or so, I'll go back to get the stitches out, which I may just try to take those out myself at home. I don't think they're too hard to get out. But here I am making the journey home here. They're routing me home, and I'm heading towards Kentucky. Actually, I think once I cross that bridge, I get into Kentucky here, and you can kind of see the lay of the land. It's familiar territory to me, and I'm so happy to be in Kentucky. Every time I get in Kentucky, I get excited. But once I get near my hometown, you know, my county, Montgomery County, I get to that Mount Sterling exit, I get really happy and really excited. I've only done it twice, and I've only made the journey home twice. But I love it. And that Mennonite guy, he lets me park, you know, right next to a trailer on the Blacktop Road. The place he lets me park now is pretty easy to get to. First, when he was trying to get me to park, was not. But where he lets me park now, where I've been going, is very easy to get to. Here's that rest stop in Kentucky. It's a little one, but I really like the design of it. It's kind of round. And it's just really cool. It's like the bathrooms in the middle, and then the building itself kind of is built around those. So you can tell that's Kentucky land right there. I can anyways. It's just beautiful. The hills, the rolling hills and pastures, and the trees scattered throughout. And that's just kind of Kentucky, really. Lots of rivers and streams. I posted something to my channel here a while back, and it was talking about Kentucky has more running water than any other state except for Alaska. And Alaska's huge, way bigger than Kentucky. I didn't realize that Kentucky had that much, but it makes sense because we've got rivers and creeks, you know, really all over the place. And I really love that about it. I was born and raised in Kentucky, and I love it here. Probably won't ever move. Like I've said before, if I do ever move, it'd probably be to Alaska. Because they're just Alaska, you know, they call it the last frontier. It's just a beautiful place. Look at that's interesting. And I didn't know that until here recently, that Lincoln was born in Kentucky. Abraham Lincoln. I didn't know that until here recently. I didn't pay attention in school too much myself. Actually, when I got a little older, I'm not proud to say it because I didn't realize how important it was, but I slept in class and everything a lot of times. But now I take it serious for my kids to learn when they're in homeschool and stuff, you know, because I realize how important it is to have an education or a GED or a high school diploma anyways, you know. I'm not saying college, but I'm saying a GED or high school diploma, like you've got to have that for so many jobs nowadays, even trucking. I'm in Mount Sterling here now, and I'm turning onto the road that leads to my city of Jeffersonville. This is very familiar territory to me. You know, I've lived in this area since I was, well, my whole life. But in Jeffersonville in particular, since I was about 4 years old. But Montgomery County there my whole life, you know. That's where I've lived my whole life. Not a big county. I like it like that. Here's where the guy lets me park, though. It's on this road back here, and it's an old road that they used to use, and they built a new one. And so it's just a dead-end path now, and that's where I park at. He owns that piece that I park in. And it's not too bad to get to. I got a little traffic that comes in there, and I got to back a little ways. As you can see here, I back down this hill, and he's got a flatbed trailer down there actually, sitting there, and I park right next to that flatbed. And then I put my kingpin lock on, and good to go. After that, my home is probably 3 minutes down the road from here. So, but I appreciate your watching as always, and be safe. Thank you so much for all the supportive comments and everything, and God bless.